Like most Canadians, artist Dave Sofa has watched the news reports of our Canadian forces on their peacekeeping mission in Afghanistan. With each report of a fallen Canadian soldier, sailor, or aircrew, it became too much. It compelled him to honor their memory.
December 6, 2008, I seen in the paper that 100 soldiers had now died. I'll tell you, it was quite emotional because my brother's boy was over in Afghanistan for a couple of tours, and so I was always watching, and every time you hear of one dying, you know, you sort of clench and just think, oh God, I hope it's not him. But, you know, it was somebody's child. It made me feel compelled to do something for these young men and women.
Dave Sofa is an airbrush artist who has specialized in murals and paintings for nearly 40 years. However, for this project, Dave chose to work with oils.
Well, an airbrush mural can last probably 30, 40 years. But I knew if this was going to be with this magnitude, it had to be big, as you can see it is, and to get the impact, and it had to be done in oils because oils will last for 400 or 500 years or more.
What started as a painting has now become a work of love.
Starting with the eyes, you get a little bit of a feeling of what they were thinking, what they were like. You know, that's that day when they did the photo before going overseas. And for the most part, most of them were done just before leaving. By starting with the eyes, they say it's a window to the soul, and it certainly is. It gets very emotional, and yeah, just look at the eyes and you can see what I mean. You live with these young men and women for as long as I have, and been locked in here in my studio more or less for as long as I have. You become kind of personalized, and when you meet their families, it's like you're part of the family.
The mural will make its way across Canada to honor those soldiers who have fallen in Afghanistan, but more importantly, to let Canadians know they should be proud of their military.
Well, I'm hoping first to let Canadians know from coast to coast the pride that we should have in our military, but first and foremost to honor these young men and women who paid that ultimate sacrifice. But there's a lot of them that we don't hear of that are coming back injured, both physical and emotional scars, that by raising a lot of money through this, that we can help with that problem that we have.
Once Dave began painting the portraits of these fallen heroes, many friends, family, and even members of the Canadian Forces came to witness this remarkable project.
Last week I had 45 soldiers came in who returned from Afghanistan. There were a lot of tears in here that day, and including my own, but it's overwhelming is what it is when they come in. Both, doesn't matter if they're just strangers seeing it for the first time or family members. My goal is just to keep going until every man and woman are home safe from that campaign in Afghanistan. Government made that call to go over, whether you agree with the campaign or you don't. They went over, they were doing their job, and by losing their life, you've got to honor that, you know, and even the ones that are coming home, they should be celebrated. I think what I want is to have them look at the Canadian uniform and be as proud as the guys wearing it, and give them a different feel of years gone by. It's always been kind of not really a joke, but people didn't show them the respect that they deserve as military.
Each portrait takes artist Dave Sofa approximately 80 hours to paint.
I hear on the news at 6 o'clock or something that we've lost another soldier or two, and I've actually turned around and gone back to my studio and worked, because even though I wouldn't get his photo for a while, you know, for a couple of days, I still feel compelled to get back at it and work. I didn't realize what I was getting into because, like I say, when I'm airbrushing, I can do them so quickly because that's what I've been doing for 38 years. But I thought I'd work here for a couple of days and at my other studio, which I still have, for 4 or 5 days. But it hasn't worked out that way. This is, shortly after starting it, I realized it's an obsession and I got to keep going at it.
For Sofa, the painting of this mural has not come without its emotional toll.
I've been invited to their kids' memorial services. They've been dead for a year or so, and they are very, very hard to take.
Dave is hoping that Canadians realize and recognize the challenges that face those who will return home with lasting physical or emotional injuries.
I'd like to see them all come home, but they've got a job to do like anybody else. And they're doing a great job at it. So I'd like to see them come home. I wouldn't want to be painting anymore.
Starting on June 1st, 2011, the Portraits of Honor National Tour will bring Canadians together to pay tribute, to remember, to heal, and to raise funding and awareness. We as Canadians must never forget those brave men and women who gave their all and paid the ultimate sacrifice. In Niagara, you're watching The Source.